back, everybody. It's a crappy dappy wet nasty Monday. As you can see out there, there is no sun. It is just gloomy and days when I don't want to come out here or do anything really because, well, yeah, you get a little down on these days, especially when you're my age. I'm not old, but I'm not young either, 35, so but I needed to come out here. I needed to get some work done. That's all there is to it. I got my heat on. Yeah, it is that chilly. It's actually like 60 out. Which doesn't seem that chilly, but it is when it's, wet, gloomy. But today, I need to put this cab back up in the air and start working on cutting the floor out of it and cutting the rest of the floor of the S10. That was my major goal last week, was getting the frame stripped, the old frame, getting the bed put somewhere, getting the cab on here and in here so I can use my plasma to cut the floors out and whatnot. But I accomplished that goal. I said, that's it for the week. Oh, while we're talking here, new shirt down in the, description you can follow. The print's a little small on it. I'm going to edit it through the week, get it a little bigger. But, shirts and stickers and stuff down there if you want to support the channel. And also, like, share, and subscribe. That's a big one. If you're on TikTok and you're a follower, also follow on there. But as for today, I'm going to get the cherry picker in, lift this cab back up, start cutting the floor, start doing my measurements and everything, and try to get it somewhat close to on the truck. I have a whiteboard over here I keep track of my measurements on. Get you one of those. Find you a whiteboard somewhere and get it, You got to be able to write down many things. It'll keep everything in your mind straight. Basically, it keeps it to where you ain't got to remember nothing. And just look at your board when you really need to. That's it. But I'm going to pop the doors. I'm going to get the cherry picker in and cab off. Alright, the time has come to start plasmaing out the cab. I've got my marks on there already. That's as far up as I want to go right this second. I think I'm going to have to go almost to the top of that. But that's as far as I want to go right now. Got my Everlast 3-in-1 plasma TIG and stick. Too bad it's only DC, but still I can do stainless. It's fired up. I blew it out and everything first. It's been a while. But I'm going to fire it up, put you guys on time lapse, and let you see. Try not to give you as much crack as I did on that last video. Big guy things, hey, it happens. So yeah, I'm hopefully not going to cut out so much to where this cab wants to tumble backwards. I'm going to keep a very good eye on it. But since I'm limited by space, no concrete and stuff like that, it was the best thing I could do is bring it in here, cut it, and then set it on. So let's get started, and hopefully nothing goes wrong after I find my gloves, because plasma burn is a real thing. But yep, let's begin now. So I've got a majority of that cut out inside there now, all the way basically to the seat brace. So what I've done is started marking my floors and stuff where I need to cut. So this firewall is going to be at an angle, floor is going to be at an angle, got to do both sides. It's pretty hard to find the exact center of these because your motor's offset. Not as bad as the Dakota. Dakotas are way offset. This one I think actually needs a passenger side motor mount. So, I'm not sure. Let me go take a look at this side. I don't know. Maybe not. But it does definitely look like it's a little far to the left. So, now I'm going to start cutting up the actual S10 firewall and floors all the way down. Now, the mark I actually had found was a little bit further over. And as you can see, it sort of cuts in the brake booster, but that's no big deal because the booster is out forward past this edge, and the fenders actually come down to here and out. So there's no worry about that. There'll be plenty of room for that. It's not a foot over like the heat and AC was. That would have never fit. So time to do some cutting. I'll have to make sure not cut any wires. This side will be the only side I need to worry about. The other one will have to get moved. And this side, once I do have everything welded, I believe I can just move the mount point of the harness up and it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to go that high. I can put it under too, under the brake booster. Kinda, as long as it don't interfere with the pedals. That's the only thing. I could also come like inside the fender here and then this way in. It just depends really. The other harness comes around too. So there's a lot of wiring on these. But we're at a pretty good point now. I think what I'll do today is finish cutting this firewall and probably call it. It's getting chilly already and it's almost dinner time. So let's finish cutting this out. Well, here we are at the end of today. The cab's a lot closer now. As you can see, I got a lot further forward. The firewall's sort of holding it right now, which is no problem. It ain't got a lot of weight on it. But the back is touching back there. You can see the cab corners in the back touching. What I'll do tomorrow, because this is it for today, I'm toast. I will lift the body back up. I'll move the firewall forward. I'll try to get the body sitting down on these little pads there from the old body mounts, so I can see where I'm at, measure my firewall and everything, figure out how much in the back I need to cut. Have to cut it, move it, yada yada. But we're closer, you know. Right now it looks like a super tall 4x4. But one step at a time. What I'll do is after I get the body down and fitting somewhat good, I'll measure from my front wheel to my door jamb right here. And I already measured it, so that way I know where the fenders need to sit. And once I have it close to that measurement and the body's sitting on the new floor and everything's looking good, what I'll do at that point is I'll tack screw it, as I've done said, and probably bring the front clip in and test fit it. As for today though, I'm done. See you guys tomorrow. Well, today's kind of a failure to launch day. What I mean by that is there's other stuff going on. Might not even work on this today, but maybe I will. I mean, there's always later tonight. Turn the heat on and get going. But this is a no timeline build, but you know, the faster you build it, the more money you make. Scott always told me that. Though I still was like, I don't really care about fast and money. I care about your quality and your name on it. You know, that'll supersede fast and money. But I know for sure this is definitely going to have to be cut straight. And that one will probably have to be cut straight too after I pull it out. But the motor mounts, I'm going to try my best to cut them back enough to keep them and leave them on there. Worst comes to worst, I can move them in. But, you know, sucks if I have to. I know I can't drill through the frame now and bolt them like we do on the Dakotas, because the simple fact is a Dakota frame is only boxed to like right there, and then it's open C channel. S10's boxed almost back to the gas tank, and then it becomes C channel. So it's a little bit more difficult to, you know, drill and bolt on a new mount. So that's where we're at with that. You know, now that I think about it, yeah, I'm right. The Dakotas only go right behind the engine. But I would, as I said, by the end of the week, which you guys will see, I hope to have this down and sitting where I want it. Alright, we're finally back on this. Got everything cleaned up outside. Now today, back to this. Now if you saw me plasma cutting, you notice I was having a little trouble out of the plasma cutter. You know, I've had this thing for like 5 years. And I'll be honest with you, I don't use it a lot, but I use it. And this is now the first tip change on it. And if you look at this tip, it's shot. Because that's the size of the hole. Tiny. But yeah, I know the consumables are wicked bad. Drop everything. Let's get the camera out of the way. But, let's look at this here. Show you guys. Again, I've only changed this once, but this is your tip right here. You got to keep your gas valve. Make sure you don't lose that right there. Alright. Yeah. That's shot. They actually make these on the Hypertherm too, and they actually break pretty easy when you get pretty old. Yeah, look at that. That's supposed to be that big. So yeah, definitely time to replace. Oh look, it's only hand tight too. Nice. When it gets hot and cools and everything, they loosen up, so you got to check them sometimes. But that one's toast. I'm going to replace all that stuff. It's all garbage. Look how big that hole is compared to this hole. But replace that and the plasma will be good to go again. And then we'll start cutting more. Alright, so what I've done, cut the firewall more. And I've cut the back mount completely off because it's just in the way. You can see it was like a big double-walled piece of crap back there. I was just going to cut it in half, and then I was like, you know what? It's triple-walled, and the mounts are built in. So I said, you know, just screw it. Cut the whole thing off. I'll make more mounts. These back mounts will probably have to be cut off about halfway anyway, about to here. And when I was taking that side off, the bushing is so gone. You see this is the bottom plate. It's gone over there, and it slung rust. Actually, it was this one. This one slung rust all over me. I was like, gosh. Ugh. I'm hot. I am sweating bullets. It's like, I don't know, 65 degrees in here. I shouldn't be sweating so much. But I'm on some new medicine. And yeah, I think it's making me sweat. Heck, it's only 63 degrees in here. But I am sweating bullets. No, I do have sweatpants on too. But it's a great way to stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? No. So now I'm going to put it back down again. Check it. See, it should be sitting pretty much level, except for these stupid front mounts I just remembered. So right now there's nothing holding the back. I take them out, there'd be nothing holding the front. But I got to get something to hold it somewhere. You know, 4 corners. I'm probably going to drill and mount these back ones before I take these front ones off. Simply because I don't want it to be moving all over the place. Because once it moves like that, man, it's hard to get it lined back up. I have my dad going to Lowe's and seeing if he can't find me 1/2-inch T45 because there isn't none local. And yeah, don't worry, seatbelts and stuff aren't saying. As I said, I can't get the T45s out. I'm pretty tired already. It's been a long day already. Not moving, but moving garbage and stuff. Still need to cut these out on both sides. But I'm just going to sit it down and see where it's at. I'd say it's going to land right on these, unfortunately, because that's where I marked it. Yeah. These right here sit about this far in on both sides. So that's why they got to go. They'd be sticking out too far. You know, I could probably cut them like half of that, just enough to where it'd fit over or behind, and probably keep them mounts. I'll have to look at that when I put it back down. But it's going. Still amazed by that thing. No problems. It's not bending the doors or nothing. It's bending the felt rails, but that ain't no big deal. Those can be easily bent back out. Yeah, it's working though. It's all that matters. It's working. I'll push it back forward, drop the body back on, and I'll show you how close I am now. Alright, so here's where we're at currently. I've got it. It's basically far enough on this side. It's got to come about 1 inch forward on that side. But it's also got to go down about 4 inches. So by the time it's done, I mean, it's like the S10 was made for it. It's got the same arch and everything. But I do have to cut that out. I'm going to try to cut not the whole mount out, but just some of it, and see if I can't just, you know, weld it to the bottom of the floor pan, because the fenders will cover a lot of that, and not to mention the running boards. But we'll see when we get to that point, which is going to be soon. The back, after I'd cut all that out, I'd already told you them mounts are going to have to be cut. Just like I said, mounts got to be cut. So I'm going to cut here at this line, and everything forward's gone. Cut it all, both sides. Then the back of this will be able to sit down. To go down, it's 4 inches, almost 5, because of the mounts. And this side, almost 4. But I do have to lift this up. I need to cut I'm probably going to cut most of this inner lip out right here with the plasma. And then I can put the firewall behind it. Now this side of the firewall actually sticks back further than that side. You can see the hump, and it's not straight. So that'll have to get adjusted. It's no big deal. Yes, that centerpiece will get probably cut out, or it'll get sliced, bent back, welded, and then slivers put in there. But now that I know it's got to go down about another 4 inches, we know we're going to have a problem here. But once I get it behind it, I can, you know, cut it after. No big deal. But that's where we're at now. I got to pick it back up in the air, cut all that stuff, put it back down again for another test fit. Oh, the joy. But, you know, a guy had asked, why didn't I just use the Studebaker floor and make new mounts? Yeah, you can do it that way. By the time you fabricated strong mounts, got bushings, put the bushings in, bolted the body on, if you got it right, front to back, left to right, you'll be good. But then after you do that, you also have to make your firewall brackets, which on this, it don't have a double plate, so you're going to have to cut all this out, including in there, and weld it into that firewall. Okay? So by the time you get done doing all that fabricating, it's about the same as this. This might be a little bit easier. You don't got to worry about geometry and stuff on your brake pedals, and if you're up too high or down too low, or, you know, and then you end up with a bunch of patches. It's just the way it is. You can do it any day, any way you want, however you want. There's a million ways to do this. You know what the Chinese say. There's a million ways to skin a cat, but there's only one way to make it taste good, and that's your way. So let's hop back to the jack here and jack it back up. and we'll start cutting out mounts. Oh yeah, getting even closer. I tried to skimp past the mounts, but it's just not looking like it's gonna happen. Probably just gonna cut them off after I make the back ones, and that'll be that. There's nothing I can do about it. We're sitting down pretty far on the rear right now. You can see back there. And this one, again, is going to have to come off. There's no way about it. It's just going to have to. I haven't checked. I'm sure I cut enough floor. Oh, yeah. Cut plenty of floor. But you can see it still has to go down quite a ways. And I still need to get up in there and cut them rocker supports out. It looks like it's just that front cab mount right here up on the body, and them two right here and here, and the body should sit down onto the new floor with no problems. I didn't even look and see, is that center hitting? That center's not hitting yet, but soon it'll hit. So I think I can get the body pretty much on, like sitting on the new floor, without having to cut the rest of the floor pan out. That center will definitely have to come out, but once I get all that stuff, it should drop right on. We're real tight on this frame, so I might have to skim it back and, you know, another 1/4 inch on each side just to have a little bit of room, because you need a little bit of room to move left and right. Right now it's definitely got to come forward on the driver's side. Actually, the whole cab's probably got to come forward. The mounts are preventing this, so. But I'm feeling pretty good already today. I'm feeling like I got a lot further down than I expected. But them mounts, man, jeez. I'll probably have to cut them close to the frame, then cut, because there's like this much room between the frame and the mount. If I cut it to where the rubber is touching the frame, I can probably drill a new hole and use it. No big deal. There'll be a bolt head up here and a nut on the bottom. No biggie. Same on both sides. But as far as I was wanting to do, I was sort of hoping they were going to sit down and the frame or the cab was going to go over and I can weld it together, and the fender would have hid most of it. But it's just not happening like that. Yepers. So back up in the air again. We got to cut the back. We got to cut the floor mounts in the front. The back's already gone. I need to sort of drill and mount them other ones. How we usually do it, well, we did it when I was out at Scott's. We just took the top mount right here and we just flipped it over, drilled straight through it, and then put a nut on the bolt. That was it. No big deal. Easy peasy. Same thing I'm going to do. Get your rusted butthole through there. Jeez. It's like it's your first time or something. But that's the plan. More cuts. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to cut these front horns off too, but that'll be when I get the frame in here. And again, we're trying to keep our same measurement we measured before we took the body off. There's a little give and take. Stuff can be moved. But we're talking 1/4 of inches, not inches or 1/2 inches. You know, we want 1/4. If we can come in within a 1/4, we can fudge it. The back, we can fudge a lot. You can fudge them by like 2 inches. Fronts, no. If it's not in the center of that wheel well, it's going to look like crap. So, jump back on it. Alright, so back on it today. I actually called it early yesterday. I was sweating bullets and stuff. Took me a good old shower, thankfully. Now, the S10 frame is actually shorter than the Studebaker. This is a standard cab S10 frame, short bed. It's 108 inches. It's pretty small. Now, the wheelbase on the frame that I took out from under it was 112 inches. So it's 4 inches bigger. that doesn't necessarily mean that that frame was the right size. It could still be shorter. It's not going to be shorter than this. It'll definitely be longer. But as I look over my measurements and stuff, and I'm trying to accurately see what's going to be moved, what is probably going to be moved is the back wheel fenders. And the reason being is the other frame had the bed touching the cab all the way. You don't do that. It needs at least an inch, inch and a half, maybe 2 inches. So that knocks it back to about 2 inches that I need of play. You can move these fenders wherever you want. In fact, on the bed, it looked like they were pretty far back. Now, that being said, it's really the running boards. You can see here, here's the bottom. It was pretty far back. It could come forward, no problem, and be fine. That's an easy fix, if it'll work. But what you really have to take in account is you have to get your bed on, your front clip on, and then put your running boards on, so that way you can see where you need to move your fenders. These running boards are fiberglass, so there's no cutting them. There's no anything on them. They're right there. They're like 66 inches long. They're pretty long. Can I fit 66 in there? Probably. But you can see right here, the front fender can't be moved. It's part of the body. It's got the right shape. Can't be moved. The back can be moved. But if your running board don't fit in there because your frame's too short, you kind of a little screwed. Because you can't move your fender back to make your running board fit and then not have a centered wheel. That'll just look like crap. But again, these are things that are going to have to be fixed later. I'm jumping the gun. As for today, I need to drill and mount the rear floor. Then I need to cut off the front mounts, move them inboard, and weld them back on. Then continue fitting the cab. Because if you ain't got your cab lined up to your front wheel right, it's pointless worrying about anything else. That's where we're at today. Well, drilling through the back don't work either. I'm getting screwed by this frame left and right. Just for ease, it's not going to be easy. The frame actually goes and boxes all the way back here, which is a good design, don't get me wrong. Just makes it suckier to have to put mounts on it. So now I'm going to have to weld mounts. The old mounts I cut off up under the cab and rebolt them, you know. Which, I mean, there's hardly anything left of them. So that sucks. Makes it more welding. So now I have to cut off all four, move them inward, and weld them all back on. That sucks. But it's all part of the game. Yeah. I just didn't want to do that. I just wanted to drill a hole through and bolt it. But there's nowhere to get a bolt at. That sucks. Alright, so I cut the mounts and I put them in. Right here's the bolt head for it. I've got it tacked in there, mounts on. Basically ready to go. Did the other side too. It's already over there. I was having a little welder issue and my gas was turned down. So now I've got it set up, clean the tip, ready to start burning in this side. Then I'll burn in this side. And then I'll cut these off, move them inward, and weld them in. Sucks I just got to cut it off and move it in. But also, while I have it up in the air, I got the frame moved forward right now. while I have it up in the air, I can come in here and I can finish cutting out these mounts. And I need to cut this cross brace out. And also, I can come back here while it's up in the air, and I can finish cutting this out a little bit wider on both sides. And I also need to cut these out. Those are going to be a little hard to cut out because it's pretty thick. It's about that thick, and it's basically the main frame. So it's going to be a little sucky to cut out. Probably plasma cut it. But I definitely need to widen it just a little bit. Like, as I said, a 1/4 inch on each side. And yes, if you can't tell, somebody made some ductwork cab corners a long time ago on here. That's terrible, because as you can clearly see, filler does not stick to it at all. So, don't use ductwork. That one's actually metal. There is another one over here for that, but I was told no body work, so I ain't doing it. After that, it's done, and those are welded in. Should be ready for the test fit again, and we should be very, very close, if not where I need to be, to start tack screwing the floor to the cab, and then bringing the front end on. Once I get the floor close to where I can slide it around and shuffle it, or the cab on the floor and slide it around and shuffle it, it'll get so much easier, because then I can move the cherry picker out. I ain't gotta worry about it. I can push the frame all the way outside and put the cab or the front clip on it, see where it fits, and go from there. So that's your biggest struggle. Once the cab is on and you got it tack screwed in, you can do anything easily. But after that, I mean, it starts flying, because then all you have to do is you start making any fillers you need around the cabs, if any. That floor is going to have to be fixed. I got sheet metal somewhere around here. I'll fix the floor for sure. Make a patch for it and hit it with some sealer or something. And then, yeah, we can start welding it all together if the front clip's right. And then I'm done. I mean, front clip and bed are easy peasy. Put the core support in, put the heater condenser in, and yeah, run all your wiring. Oh, I forgot. I also got to put gauges in this thing. Yeah, that's going to be a friggin' nightmare. I have an extra dash over here. And that little line right there, that's the gauges on the factory one. The new gauges are right here. They're huge. Like, literally, they're the entire length of the dash. I don't know if he wants to use that, or if he just wants to get his own, like, round gauges and use them. Because to get that into there, whew, gosh, that's going to be some work. But I'm going to throw you on time lapse while I'm over here welding. And we'll get this sucker pretty much close today. As I said, end of the week. I should have it pretty much starting to weld the cab to the floor. I'm hoping. But right now, it's going pretty quick. Well, if you guys were just watching that where I was welding, what had happened was I thought the tip clogged, and I was trying to, power the tip to unclog it. I usually do it a lot. It never would. So I was tripping. I was like, oh no, man, I'm either out of wire or something like that. Look back at the welder, and there's a bird's nest coming out of the case. So what had happened was it just spun too much or something. It didn't come through, and it just bird nest. I just cut it out, put a new tip on it, and everything like that. So that's what you're seeing in the video, is it bird nest inside, and I couldn't get it to, well, it wouldn't come out. So fixed it. Now we're gonna jump back to welding. Alright, so cab mounts are welded on both sides, bolted on. I'm doing the fronts now, which this floor is rotten. I'm going to have to do some repairs. But I've already got the mounts off. They're over here on the bench. This one I need to cut a ton off of. This one's about 1/4 inch. I need to take off it. It's still warm. And yeah, once I have that one right, I'll cut this one the same. Grind them all, clean them up. Grind up the frame, clean it up, and start welding them on. I'll probably have to patch this side's floor first. But the other side's fine. I didn't have to cut any but what I needed out of it. Then after I get those done, I'll cut out the rest of these mounts and that floor. It's going slow today. These mounts take a lot of time to cut, grind, weld, you know, put the mounts in, bolt them on. But it's moving along. Once I get them on and the rest of this floor cut out, it'll be ready to sit back on and be pretty close to there. Then all I have to do is get my front and back right. But we'll worry about getting it straight after we get it on the floor and tack screwed in. Tack, either one, toe. But it'll be good. Definitely think we'll have this pretty much ready to weld on by the end of the week, you know, by Friday, Saturday. It's been a long day today, let me tell you. But I have all 4 of the body mounts made, re-welded to the frame, moved out of the way. That one isn't tight yet. I'm going to have to fix the floor, as I've done said. This one's tight. All the other 3 are tight. For some reason, I cannot get them stars out, but hey, you know, I'll try again here later. Well, tomorrow. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go through and cut the mounts off and that out. And I think after that, I'll set the cab back down and I'll be done for tonight. But it's, any progress is progress. Don't get caught up on going, oh man, all I've done was made 4 mounts today. Well, hey, 4 mounts is progress forward. I had to cut them all off, cut them down, weld them back on, bolt them up. I had to actually find a couple of mounts and some nuts for those. That was kind of difficult. They're 1/2 inch. Don't really have anything 1/2 inch in here. But progress is progress. I mean, as I told people online, you know, if you're even just in your garage, you know, cleaning and spray painting your firewall, progress is progress. So, yep, let's cut that center section out and cut these mounts off, and we'll set her back on there and see how she fits. She should fit pretty good now. She should go all the way down, miss the floor and everything now. Except for the back. I forgot. I need to cut the back out real quick too. Back of the cab. But we're moving. That's all that matters. I'm feeling good in the neighborhood. Why? Booyah! She's basically about down where she needs to be. Only thing holding it is I completely forgot about them floor mounts and didn't cut them out again. But look at her. She's sitting about where she needs to be too, honestly. Yeah, it's sitting on the humps in the floor, so I'll cut them out and it'll go down in the back the rest of the way. It looks like I'm gonna have to cut out that piece back there. It looks like it's sitting on top of the gas tank, so it'll have to come out, that whole brace through there. Well, actually, no. If that's where it's sitting, it might need to stay. Let me see. Okay, yeah, it's probably where it needs to stay. I didn't cut out none of the upper section of that, so it's not got any weight on it right now. See, it's off the weight. Them corners over there, as I said, I forgot to get them out. I know down here I have to cut that out the rest of the way, and it's going to sit about right where that hump is. It'll go down a little bit below it, and then I'll have to make a piece. The back is about straight, but I'll have to cut a lot of that out and bend it down and weld it. But it is going killer. Yeah, look right here. Stupid hair. It's almost touching completely there, and I think after I cut it the rest of the way over here that it will actually sit down some more. Well, it's not even touching it right now. It's touching them mounts, but I see what I do have to cut, so I'll cut that on both sides. I don't know if this one's sitting on it or not. Nope, not yet, but it's about square. I'm fantastic right now. It's killer. I believe this side, well, I know this side's got to come forward a lot. Maybe, hopefully, because if not, then the wheel gap will be off. Or, you know, the firewall is different. I could bend it back and make it fit. That's no big deal. It could bend your pedals down a little bit, but it shouldn't mess with anything. I'm going to try not to do that. Yeah, but it's going good. It's only got to go down about another 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So, yeah, the bed or the rocker should be about 6 inches off the ground. It's look like it's all measuring up pretty good and right. It looks weird on there, but I've got it on like a big mode on my phone, so it does look a little fisheye, but it's good. It's golden. I'm loving it. Loving it. I'm gonna measure my gaps from here to there before I go in. That's where I take my measurements at. And yeah, we'll call this a night. A happy night. You can definitely tell the front's got to come down because it looks like it's sitting high. But I'm on gravel here. I could be facing downhill. That's the only bad part. I'll have to check it with a level and stuff to make sure, however it's going to sit, it's sitting right. The new mount's clear. Way good. Love it. This side is even better. I know that floor's got to be fixed, but anywho, it's coming along good. Guten Tag. So, I'm out for tonight. See you in the morning. Alright. Re-energized. Good night's sleep. What has got to happen today is I need to cut these fronts out a little bit more so the frame can sit down. And the front body mounts need to be cut. I'm going to mark and cut out the area for the gas tank because it's sitting on the tank right now. And that seat belt mount. For some reason I can't get them off. Even my impact's not bringing them off, man. It's like seriously on there. If I have to, I'll cut them off. Plain and simple. Don't want to, but you can see over there, it's going to be sitting right on top of it if I don't do something. Other than that, it's all gravy. So, jack her back up again. It's like the 5th time. The joys of manual lifting things. Well, I mean, it's hydraulic, but it's manual. So, up, cut mounts, cut out the back down again. Fun. But we'll see what happens when I get all that stuff cut out, and if it sits down on the body to the point where I can completely remove the cherry picker back to its hole outside till I get that mess cleaned up. And then at that point, we'll tack screw and yeah, test fit the front clip. It's going. Let's get to it. All right, it is back down. Lots of fighting on this when you get to these small cuts. I think I do need to cut this just a little bit more off through there. But I think we're sitting pretty right now, you know, pretty. But I'm pretty sure either the firewall's got to go back on this side or the cab's got to come forward. The main thing I think I'm happy about right now is I think I can get the cherry picker set up out of here now. I'm at the point where I can just slide the body, which is fantastic because that thing gets in my way so much. But it does work. The idea works. The whole setup works. That saved me and 3 other people's backs. Not to mention, you know, how was I going to lift it again after I get it put on there? So, that plan works. I'm going to keep that around. I'm freaking sweating bullets right now. But we're down to where I want it to be. It's sitting on the floor. Well, it's actually sitting on that hump right now. If you look in there, it's sitting on the hump for the seats. But no big deal. I didn't technically need to cut that much out where the tank goes, but I did. It'll be fine. Where the seat is, the seats are like a full-blown mount in here. And if you look, it sits up way higher, of course. But back here in the corner, if you see where it's flat, let me see if I can't point to it right here where it's flat. If I cut all this out and just put a new piece in there, I think that'll work. It'll just be that center section. But all this stuff through here has to get cut out still. It does have a gap, of course. Most of them do. And we make filler plates for there. This side isn't as prominent as the other side. At least it's not from out here. It's a little easier. But, yeah, now it's all about getting my wheelbase close to set by tape measure on both sides. And then at that point, I need to figure out the cab like this. And, yeah, at that point, you know, I'll push the whole thing outside. I'll bolt the front end on after I tack screw the body. And we'll see if the wheelbase lines up if I get it close. But it's all just moving forward. It's wicked good progress already, and I've only been out here about an hour. So, yeah, we're doing good. Alright. Notice what's missing? That's right, the jack's gone. Not the jack, the cherry picker, it's outside. It's technically sitting on its own weight at its own ride height. Doors open and close and everything right now already. I think I'm about perfect where our wheelbase is as far as front goes. It does move quite a bit right now, but I mean, everything's basically not touching except for over there. And I haven't figured out yet if I want to cut that out, because the back will go down even more then. I don't know if I want the back to go down more. It sort of looks like it's sitting right everywhere. Worst comes to worst, I can weld right through there, cut that out and bend it down, and it'll be just like the factory floors were. Cut through there, bend it down. Like right through here, I could cut here and here, weld this, bend this down to here and weld it. Same with the front, cut here, bend it down and weld it. I'll replace the floor afterwards. I ain't really worried about it. Mounts are holding what it's supposed to be holding, but it's all there. I didn't strip the dash. We usually strip the dash before we put them in, but I wasn't worried about it. Check that out. That's a rivet holding that window. Oh, that's the door handle, not the window crank. But it's I'm about to tack screw it in a couple of spots Probably one up here on both sides, and on that hump where I was just showing you, go in through the door that way, and that should hold it left and right, front and back, enough to where I can then push it outside and flip the front end on it. I know it looks like a mess right now with all the wiring, but all that gets run back into the cab. Right here, right through this. This is your cab bulkhead. And I'll probably put it right there in that wheel arch, because there's literally nowhere else to put it. And then start having to run everything. As long as I can turn the wheel and it don't catch it, it'll be fine. Anything else is good. This side, I can put the other one literally anywhere. I've got for days of room. Unfortunately, the box still wouldn't fit no matter what. I know some people are like, oh, you could have get it. No, there's a foot. It would have been over probably here by the time I was done. And the fenders wouldn't have hit it because it would have been too tall. It came up to here. So if the cab would have been up 2 or 3 more inches, you probably could have stuck it. No, you couldn't have, because it drops down. Right here's the wheel. Yeah, so it would have had to been freaking way down here. This thing would have been a 4x4. But I'm happy there's no more cherry picker. I'm happy to have it sitting where it wants, where I want it to also. It looks relatively straight on there, even though my cut is like, Stevie Wonder did it. But it's sitting somewhat straight. But now I gotta tack it, or not tack it, but screw it. I will cut off that firewall more after I get everything somewhat in there. I'll go in from the inside and I'll cut a line, and it'll be about straight with the firewall out there. And this I'll cut and bend up, and it'll mostly close this giant hole. I didn't cut that. That was cut previously when they were trying to put, for some reason, on that other frame with the motor in it, they cut out the firewall that high. It was not even close to that high. But as I said, we're moving. We're getting my goal accomplished for the week, which was on, tack screwed in, and test fitting the front. That was my goal. If I can get the front test fit today, I ain't working tomorrow and Sunday. Take them days off. Get some rest. Mess around a little bit. Procrastinate about buying tools that I'd like to own. Yeah. Yeah, I know I got enough tools as it is, but I'm sort of going for metal shaping tools because the travel needs like, oh, look at it. It's like a beam from heaven. Let me see. The travel out there has a lot of patch panels that need made, and you can't buy parts for those. Internationals are incredibly impossible to find parts for. It's bad enough I'm going to end up spending $2,000 in glass and rubber on it. I know, it's crazy, but we're going good. I'll tack it in, push it out, try to get the front end on by myself. I need to bolt the front end together more and put the other inner fender in too before I can even do anything else. So let's get busy. Alright, so I've spent the past hour with the help of my dad bolting this front end back together. That thing was, there's like 2 bolts on here. That inner fender wasn't even in. There's like a couple on here. That grill was a pain to get in, but it's all in now, all bolted together. Nighttime is getting ready to fall, so I'm calling it for today. Go in and eat some dinner. But all together, ready to test fit tomorrow. Truck's ready to be test fitted on, I guess you would do. But yep, that's for today. I'm done. Wore out. Let's go in and chillax. Well, unfortunately, guys, I was going to test fit this front end today. I've been in here doing a little bit of cutting on it, but every single time I go outside to work on, moving stuff out of the way and getting the truck out and getting the front clip set on. Starts pouring the rain. Today's chance of rain was 30%, so they got that way wrong. But this is going to be it for today, or for this week. I got a lot done this week. I got what I wanted done, basically, and that's the cab sitting on, ready to be welded. I would have liked to have had the front clip bolted on to see what I need to cut, because I know the inner fenders and stuff on it are going to need to be cut for sure, for things like brake booster, control arms, all that has to get cut. But I did get it all bolted together yesterday, which was a thing I didn't even expect to do. So, yeah, we're pretty good. I'm going to cut that back section off Monday. We'll get the clip test fitted Monday, and we'll go from there. But that's the end of the video today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, I have a TikTok if you want to go in there and check it out. I do the same thing I do on here, just post a couple of shorts and then long videos. So, thanks for watching. Keep watching.